News segment time. The news. Let's share my screen here. Go live. So I read this article, God. It's probably been over a week now. Oh, that is pumpkin chunking. Black holes slamming into the moon could end dark matter debate. So do you want? So I'll explain it to the kids here.
Oh, what about eminence?
That's
This
it.
day
That
will
works.
live on that what?
That works.
That line will live on in great eminence.
That one works. Anyways, back to the news. So basically, what this article is saying that all right, it's a little complicated here. So basically, in the early universe, there were random fluctuations that caused the distribution of matter in the universe, and coincidentally also caused the random distribution of dark matter. In this random distribution, though, parts of it, in theory, got dense enough to form black holes. Now, dark matter theoretically interacts similar to matter in that black holes could potentially form. And so these black holes would then be flying through the early universe, and they would be in quite large groups. And there's a theory that we could use the moon, Mercury, or any other body in the solar system who doesn't have erosion and weather and that kind of stuff. And so basically, because black holes have their different properties compared to like a meteorite, the craters they would leave when they impact the moon, for example, would be different. And so okay, we'd be able to figure out which craters look close enough to what a black hole impact would look like. Also, we could look for exit wounds because these black holes would go straight through the moon. They wouldn't get stuck like a meteorite. Or a meteorite gets obliterated, these don't get obliterated. Anyways, so you can look for exit wounds, also just looking for the entrance wounds. And basically you would use an algorithm to scan the moon to look for these craters. And then when manned missions become more feasible, so in the late 2020s, you would send astronauts to these craters to confirm that these craters were in fact made by black holes. Once you've confirmed that, then we can now look at the sizes of them. We know what a given size of a black hole can be. We know the smallest size that a black hole can be made of regular matter. However, it's theorized that dark matter, if it has protons, the protons of dark matter would be heavier than that of protons of regular matter. And therefore, these black holes made from dark matter, which would interact just like regular black holes, would leave smaller craters because they're smaller. And so we would look for these anomalies, and these would be kind of like fingerprints as to hinting at the fact that dark matter may in fact exist. So it's just an interesting idea that we could use it. Criticism is that, the moon isn't that old compared to the universe. So it's like, what are the odds that there were enough black holes flying through the early solar system that would be able to find these craters? Which is also why they talked about using here they're talking about the different craters and what they would look like. Here's a regular crater. Here's one left by a black hole. Anyways, so they talk about a trip to the moon. To bolster their theory, they need to go to the moon. Anyways, so do you? I mean, I know you didn't have time to really read this article,
No.
but do you think this is a valid way to search for dark matter, or I guess fingerprints of dark matter, anyways?
So what I know, I've never heard of them. Well,
I mean, provided that there are enough that these micro black holes, there were enough of them in the early universe to do. I mean, not in the early universe, but just when the moon was formed and no longer molten, that there were enough of them that we can find craters today, billions of years later.
mhm.
That's what I'm skeptical of, because, like, yes, the moon is, what, 4 billion years old? But the universe is 13 billion years old. You telling me in the last 4 billion years the density of micro black holes has decreased so much so in the last 4 billion years compared to the first, what, 6, 9 billion years? 8 billion. Sorry, my math was wrong. In the first 8 billion years, I don't know. I find that's what my issue is with that. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I just don't know enough about this subject to give an opinion.
Fair enough, yeah. What I thought was kind of funny, and we can make comments on this, is that, like, they talked about these craters being, like, the size of, like, I think, like, a meter across or something. And,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, can you imagine you're just walking around on Earth one day and just poof, you're just a splotch of blood and a puff of smoke, and there's a small little crater left behind you because you got hit by a micro black hole.
Well, the micro black hole leaves a meter size crater.
Yeah. Well, in a non-atmosphere. In an atmosphere, surprisingly, even though these things are smaller than an atom, they still get slowed down by air resistance, surprisingly.
Wow, micro black hole leaves a meter.
What?
Kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they're traveling stupidly fast, these things.
No, but like it's. I mean,
It's a lot of energy.
I don't know. Part of me just thinks that it'd be like punching a hole in paper, right? Like it's just like this tiny little hole.
That's what I thought.
You know what I mean?
How are you going to find these holes? But they're like, there's so much energy in this reaction because it's a solid clump that can't deform, that it does make a visible crater. Just because it doesn't, if you had a meteorite that big, it wouldn't make it traveling at that speed. It wouldn't do much because it deforms. But these black holes don't deform, which is why this is how they're gonna be able to find them, is because the characteristics of the crater plus there's exit wounds, they're different. They look different.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was just imagine walking around, right?
Yeah.
And you just get hit by a micro black hole, and you're just dead, just disintegrated.
Yeah.
Just a puff of mist with a crater. Like your guy and your friend walking next, just like, what just happened to Phil? He's just gone with a crater.
He's gone.
Just gone. It's like, oh, he got hit by a micro black hole. Oh, what?
Oh well. we're getting along just fine without him. Doesn't change my life any.
You're the one who died.
No, but that's what they'd say.
Oh, you think your friends value that little?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's less.
I mean, I certainly would be very depressed because I don't know who would host the podcast with me as well as you do.
Oh, please! If I'm the only one who hosts it with you,
We've
it can't be
talked.
that hard to. It can't be that hard to find someone other than me.
We've talked about this.
I've set the bar quite low.
We've talked about this. I mean, you're the only person besides Outback
That you bother to reach out to.
Listen, I'm sure there are other people
Would do a
smarter
much
than
better.
us who would do just as well on this podcast as you and I. The issue
Yes.
is, can they laugh at a guy being turned into a puff of steam by a micro black hole?
Everyone has an inner dark sense of humor.
Yeah, but
They just need a
also,
little.
can they? I mean, can they go on a 5-minute tangent about STIs?
Sure, why not?
Tell you what, we'll host auditions, and they'll be in the event Phil is hit by a micro black hole.
Yeah, you need to start preparing.
You plan to get hit by a micro black hole in the next few years?
I mean, it could happen sooner than that.
Some people disappear without a trace. Maybe it's not because they were kidnapped and thrown in the bottom of the ocean. No. Maybe it's because they got hit by a micro black hole.
Or we just live in a simulation and their life just instantly just flickered to zeros.
That's about the equivalent of a micro black hole, to be fair.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they just vaporize, like no hole, no puff of smoke, like just gone.
But
like as if they weren't even there.
But the blood steam.
No, like there's nothing. Like it's like they're standing right behind you, right beside you, and all of a sudden just gone.
That'd be spooky.
And it's like, what?
That'd be spooky.
Yeah.
Just somebody.
Can you imagine if you caught that on film?
No one would believe you ever. They think you faked it.
Exactly. But see, the thing is that it looked as if it was faked, which is how scary that would be to be there.
Actually, I mean, you would show people that video, and they'd go looking for the guy that disappeared, and think you murdered him. Because his last known origins were in that video.
Yeah. And he's just gone.
Your best case scenario is that you're going to go literally insane, obsessed about this video, because you're the only person that believes in the entire justice system anyways. I'm sure there will be other people. I'm sure you can gather an occult following.
Mm-hmm.
We live in that age where people somehow believe vaccines give you autism, but whatever. Point is, that there'd be nobody in the justice system believe you, so you'd literally just go insane, and hopefully that instead of being put on death row or at least being tried for murder, you'd just be plead insanity and get to sit out the rest of your days in a mental hospital. Even though, I mean, I honestly I should probably drive anybody insane watching somebody just disappear like that. Oh. Wow, that's a scary topic to think about. Damn. Hello?
Yeah.
That's scarier than the micro black hole. he's the micro black hole, there's a possibility that there's a heaven. And that you might go to heaven.
But see,
in the simulation.
the thing is that how could they try you for murder if there's no evidence? Because you're always innocent until proven guilty.
You don't have an alibi.
Yeah, but there's no proof beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty.
I wouldn't say...
There's no evidence.
But there's no evidence to support that you didn't do it either.
Yes, but you're innocent to start out with, though. If you're always innocent to be proven guilty, how could they show any evidence that you're guilty?
I think it would literally just come down to the jury.
But they have no evidence to back their claim on.
Yeah, but you ever just wanted to...
So there's no proof.
But you ever just get that, you know when a guy cuts you off on the interstate or something, and you're just like, screw that guy, I hope his family burns. You ever get that feeling? Every human being...
I am not going to comment on that.
Every human being on the face of the planet, unless they literally have a part of their brain that's been damaged, has had that thought. Alright?
Yes, but it's one thing to think it and it's another thing to follow through. Those are two totally separate
that's what I'm saying. Now you're on the jury. Now it's like, no one's gonna know.
No one's gonna know what?
I'll vote. The guy did it. I mean, you have a point. I mean, your life's over. You're gonna go insane. But truth be told, I mean, they could. You make a good point. You make a very good point. I just feel
You're
like...
innocent. How can you be proven guilty?
I mean...
You need proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
I mean, there's been a lot of people there are a lot of innocent people in prison, Phil.
Well, yeah, but probably because they get accused for the wrong evidence. The evidence seems to point in their direction. Because there is evidence. But I'm saying if there's no evidence...
I mean, what's to say that they won't just make evidence?
What?
What's to say they just won't make evidence? I mean, they do it now.
What?
They do it now.
Make evidence from what?
They make it up. Because they want to see people, they want to see these people in prison because the system is corrupt. If Kyle was here, he'd agree with me.
No, I'm not saying that they can't. I'm saying how can they make up evidence? Because they have nothing to use.
They have the video, and that you're the last person in the entire world to see him alive. That's
okay. Well, the video I was imagining, like you're working with the guy, at work, like let's say in the middle of a grocery store, in the middle of an aisle.
Oh, so there's also other. Okay, yeah. And
yes, that's the video I had in my mind.
Oh,
what video did you have in your mind?
You're out.
I had a video that it's like a grocery store. You're working, stocking shelves. You have the guy next to you that you're helping, and then all of a sudden he just disappears. That's the video I had in my mind. What video did you have in your mind?
Oh, we're like out in the woods or out on the plains of Nebraska.
Oh, who would be filming that, though?
We filmed ourselves at the minus 100th parallel, latitude.
No, I'm saying that's not what I had. That's not the video I had in my mind.
We could have easily have been in the middle of nowhere. We didn't have to be on a highway. And I'm taking a video of you on the 100th parallel, and you just go, boop.
Yes, but I think it's two totally separate things to murder someone.
Oh yeah.
And report it, because people who murder someone don't want anyone to find out.
Yeah, but
why would you report it?
The issue, but here's the thing, though. You're gonna come back from this trip.
That's a.
But no. Here's your issue, though. If you don't say something, people are gonna get suspicious.
No. Because here's the whole thing, though, right? It's the most riskiest move in the world, because if you murder someone, if you report it, it's almost a way to get them off your backs as a suspect, because yes, you were there, so yes, you kind of are their suspect, but at the same time, it's like you wouldn't want anyone to know about the whole incident. You want it to appear as if they disappeared without a trace, and
Right.
it went on as if no one really cared.
Right. But in this situation,
And so it seems to me that if you murder someone, you would not report it. But if you do, then it's like, oh, he kind of cares.
But in this situation, though, whether you report it or not, people are going to get suspicious. You were the last person that was with that with that person before they disappeared.
Yes, but my point is, I don't know how you could. If there's no evidence to go off of, I don't know how they could possibly make evidence.
I mean, a lot of bodies have never been found. I mean, okay, think about this. Okay, a guy comes. There was an influencer who just got killed by their husband on a cross country trip out in the mountains. He came back, and people are like, "Hey, where's I don't know her name. Let's call her Stacy. Hey, where's Stacy?" And he's like, "What do you mean, where's Stacy?" They're like, "She was with you on the trip. Where's Stacy?" Well, in this case, they found a body. But a lot of murder cases, they don't find a body. You were the last person to see her. Sure, there might not be any other evidence other than the fact that you were the last person to see her. And you can deny to your grave that I didn't murder her. But you were the last person to see her. And there's no body. She's just gone.